What's up? Thanks for tuning in. This is Tang StarCraft with a PvZ replay analysis. Today we're actually be taking the point of view of the Protoss player, Grandpa Toss, aka Burton, a manager of the All-In team. And we're going to be looking at his engagements, his playstyle, his economy, map vision, all those important things. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to Protoss builds. Of course, I'm a Zerg player, so take my advice always with a grain of salt in terms of the build order and stuff, but I think I'll be more helpful with things like the execution and strategy, overall strategy against Zerg. That's a very early hatch, or gateway rather. Looked like the pylon was on 13. I'm curious not to see any kind of probe scout after the pylon or after the gateway, because typically you do want to do that scout. You want to see what's the timing of the expansion, which this game is pretty usual, right? A hatch first. But perhaps more importantly, is he going gasless, or is he going just one, or rather, is he going just one gas, or is he going gasless? Really important distinction, because it kind of, you can play a little greedier, or even more all-in aggressive if he has no gas. But if he has the one gas, you kind of have to play a little cagier. Usually you don't want to go for too early of aggression. Maybe like an adept or something, but not heavy aggression. So yeah, still no probe scout. I would call that a mistake in this matchup. I think it's probably one of the most important things to do. Even if nothing else, to determine whether he's going for the third base. But I'm a Zerg player, what do I know? I like the safety net zealot. Good timed expansion. Getting into the tech or a sentry or anything. Not mothership core first, I don't mind it. I do feel like the tech could have been started by now. And there's the adept. Good. Robo too before the tech, that's a bit strange. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I would say just scale back a little bit the Robo. I think you should probably get the Cyber Tech and the Adept started, and then the Robo just shortly after. But looking at the bright side, fully saturated main, both gases filled, expansion almost done, so you can set the rally points over there, maybe do a transfer. And yeah, then we have the Robo Tech, which reveals a lot, but one thing that's really lacking is really the vision on the map. So I feel like that first probe should have scouted the main, should have scouted that just the fact that he has this gas. And then later the adept should confirm, does he have a third base, and maybe even poke in with that first adept right away. So we'll see if it pushes out or whether it's a defensive adept. And here's another thing, is you don't really know whether it's correct to be pushing out with this adept or whether it's correct to be defensive with it, because we didn't scout this gas. Coincidentally, this game, the opponent is going speed, did get this gas early, and probably shouldn't be going too far out on the map with the adept. But like I said, against a gasless build, you definitely could. Oh my god. These are the moments where you're really happy that he got a second adept. Where is the mothership core? I'm curious about that. Was it cancelled? No, it shouldn't have been cancelled. I gotta go back and take a look. That's a little different. Was the mothership? What? Am I tripping? Am I losing my mind? Or was this thing canceled? It was canceled. I don't know what that was. And yeah, the gas is up. I gotta assume that was a mistake. Just didn't realize it. Because you definitely want the mothership core out. And in fact, with this Nexus going down, I would argue a pylon should be going down, maybe even two, so that you can cast the overcharge down there if some sort of aggression comes. So definitely a little accident there. And yeah, even this pylon, I think, should be down at the expansion. For sure. Yeah, because, I mean, right now, this comes in, you cast the overcharge, and he no longer can do any damage. Has to pull out, or he just loses too many Zerglings. But Well, yeah, this is going to be a little annoying. Well, there's the second adept. That should help a bit. Speed finishes. Like, we're actually a bit lucky in this game. We look at our opponent. He's on the 3 bases. He's got lots of larvae banked up. Totally could have more Zerglings and have committed to this. And if that were the case, I don't know if Burton could hold. If this was a really big Ling flood, like a super all-in, so... I think just need to be a little safer. Mothership core pylons at the front, helping to wall in, maybe. And then even this gateway, I think. This gateway down here. Once you have the pylon down here, you can complete the wall in on this side. Right? Pylon, gateway. And then later, maybe even a gateway or Stargate or whatever here. And then this is a lot easier of an expansion to defend. And that helps later in the game to have this wall. Because when you have your third base, then you're not defending multiple locations. Or at least, well, you are, but it, you know, the partial wall in helps a lot. So, really concerned about playing in the dark. Yeah, even Burton getting the Colossus out, getting the Immortal out right away, and maybe even could be the Observer, just to get a little bit of information about the Zerg. We don't know anything about their tech, whether they're just powering drones, anything. Two Immortals right away. Concerned about the low gateway count. I think by now he should be going up to about 3 or 4. Probably 3. These pylons are actually nicely placed. I just think that they should have been placed with, like, this pylon a little earlier. There's the mothership core. She's really concerned right now, wondering why she was canceled. But she'll get over it. She's a mothership. Okay, so a very quick third, I think. Yeah. Even just the 2 links shutting that down is a little unfortunate. How many gateways are we going up to? 3. The charge is a little early. I think maybe prioritize the gateway count. Get a better standing army. Like, we got tons of gas. Could be warping in some sentries or something. Even if it's not sentries, just more adepts, whatever. Just have some standing forces, ideally at the front with the partial wall in, and then you can move it over to here a lot easier. The positioning of the army here and having this all walled in is kind of suboptimal for taking a third. However, this is actually really nice. By 5:30, fully saturating the 2 bases with all the gas. We'll in your games, Burton, maybe you'll be trying to get that down a little earlier even. So if 5:30 was the timing in this game, maybe next game we can try to get it 5:15, 5:20. Just a little earlier on the saturation. But it is looking really nice. Should see, yeah, 44 plus. So that's a really good plus size. However, we need that third started. And pylons over there. I just feel like we're moving into all these tech things a little too early. The Twilight, the Templar, maybe even building all 3 Immortals so quickly. I think this third could have been a little earlier, a little more priority to that. And then also just the gateway count too, only being on 3, really risky because at this stage in the game, like we're actually looking, Zerg is into heavy roach production and will not be aggressive with it, I don't think. This is looking like just to defend the third. But if it was a really, really, really heavy committed attack, you need extra gateways. You need to be able to warp in more sentries and zealots and stalkers and stuff. Great call on the pylons down at the expansion. That'll help immensely. Doing a good job of warping in units. I guess the gas is going to be saved up this game, so maybe that's why no sentries, not even 1 or 2. Maybe that's why, so that all the gas can be banked into Templar archives. But I want to kind of make an argument against not getting any sentries. So early on, like if you're walling this in nicely, the force fields, like just 1 or 2 even, will be really nice. Like especially if he wants to attack you, like you can keep him from getting close to your pylons and stuff. It's really nice defensively. But even more important, I think, getting the 1 or 2 sentries early lets you Phoenix Scout. And I don't think an argument can be made against that decision because we have no scouting, didn't even get the Observer, and that's all fine, but we gotta have some way to see the Zerg. So I think right now if a Phoenix, hallucinated Phoenix flew into the main, saw the Roach Warren, saw the Hydra Den, maybe just confirmed the third base a little earlier, then we'd be able to respond a little bit better too. Because the last thing you want to do is fly or not fly in and him just have a spire sitting right here and we're massing immortals thinking, why did we do that? So yeah, third base going up, lots of probes building, maybe even could rally over to the third about now. Transfer some from the main. I think this forge is a bit late, but I love it. Definitely want to see that +1 attack coming. Where are we seeing cannons? At the third? I don't mind it. I don't mind it, but again, I think the placement could be better. Right now, 20 Zerglings could come in and kill this, but if you put the cannon in the middle of these two pylons, and then like have a gateway on the other side, 1,000,000 Zerglings can come in. That's an exaggeration, but a lot more defensive are these cannons if they're completely walled in by pylons and gateways and stuff. Good, yeah, lots of pro production. Really want to saturate the third, want to transfer from the main, I think, some of them. Storm, great. Extra gateways, beautiful. Yeah, so I think by now, before 8 minutes, we should be able to hit this saturation at the third. At least 16 workers here, and at least the gas is filled. And the reason we want to saturate this right away is because this will be the last base that mines out, obviously. But the main will mine out very quickly, so there's no need really to keep 16 there. I think you just want to transfer it over and keep the mining as efficient as possible. Our army is starting to get to that nice size. Lots of storm. Maybe even could be morphing in some archons early. Just have a few defensive. Yeah, so again, still not saturated, and big thing, gas too. Not taking that gas yet. Ooh, that's a big Zerg army for no force fields. Storms will help immensely, I expect. Yes, good. More archons. You'll need a lot of those. I'm going to go ahead and call it a error not to be making more immortals. This is a 5th, I think. 5 immortals. That's actually not bad. 5 immortals is pretty good by 9 minutes. But I think you could even be building another one now. And as I say that, there's the observer, which is also good. You definitely need an observer. But yeah, just keep that robo producing if you can. Okay, so in terms of the defense at your third, I do think that some more gateways and stuff should be used as the wall here, just to prevent run bias. Keep these cannons a little more protected. And just make it a little harder for him to be moving his army through here. But aside from that, I don't know if I'll nitpick too much. There, good, yeah, up into +2. I think +2 could be finished by now. Yeah, this is actually really scary, but let's see. Maybe even the Archons could be placed a little more in front. I definitely think we have charge, yeah. It's going to come down to the storms, really. This is way too big of an army for you to face kind of head on. You got to like storm, pull back, and just kind of keep at the far outskirts of his army. You do not want this whole army to be like in a wide concave attacking you. You want to be pulled back and like kiting a bit. But I think there were some opportunities to storm. That's a great one. I actually think maybe right here, just a little bit lower would have been slightly better, but that's pretty damn good. I think even 2, like storm. Force him to pull right back. Yeah, good. That was actually perfect. Maybe the second one was just slightly delayed. But that was really nice. And you can just see how nice those friggin' storms are on Hydras. Those HP are so low. He's actually just opting, no, I'm not gonna, I don't like that. So he's just gonna pull back. And make a bunch of Ravagers. That's a bit strange. I was expecting him to wait for Lurkers. My real concern, immortal count's not going up. Only 5 for the whole game, especially because like it's getting towards 10+ minutes. I think a few more would be really good. And how many gateways are we on total? 2 building with only 6 up. 2. So I think even with these 2, that's probably not enough. On 3 bases with Charge a Lot Archon, you're probably thinking 10 to 12. So like these 2 should have been earlier, and then probably even another 2 earlier. So like gateway, and then more gateways wherever earlier. Love that we got the 4th up. This is going to be a bit scary though. Lots of lurkers. Alright. No. See, letting him get into position there was a bit of a factor. First of all, if we look at our vision before this, do we know where his army is sitting? Yeah, we got actually pretty good observer control. So we see him spreading creep through there. But he's never going to move his army through there, right? The army's always going to come through this big spot. So maybe this observer could be just keeping tabs on where it is. Because you don't want to have what happened, which is this big army to move to here, right all the way up to here for free. Like, you should be contesting it, pushing it back, not letting him set up those lurkers a little bit further back. Like, this army, I think, is big enough and safe enough with the storms to be a little bit more aggressive, a little further forward. And again, like the warp-ins, are we building more gateways? Yeah, I think we are. That's awesome. Yeah, that's what we need. Big gateway count. The warp-ins should be going non-stop, like, pretty much. We definitely have the money and gas. Like, right now, I think there should be a lot more Archons and Immortals. So, yeah, this is really unfortunate. Do we have an observer with the actual army? Yes. Whew, good. 2, in fact. So, great. And I think that's smart, to be producing extra observers when your opponent's going lurkers, or even when you expect that they're going lurkers. Let's see how this engagement goes. Oh, already taken massive hits. That's problematic, to have all your storm guys taking hits from the lurkers. That's what you really want to avoid. The Immortals actually can take a lot of hits from it. Even the Adepts, it's not the end of the world. Zealots, but definitely not High Templar. You want to be a little bit more careful. Anticipate where those lurkers are going to be shooting and try to keep your High Templar back and a little out of, like, I think maybe over here or something like that would be better than where your whole army is. Oh no, and they're even move commanding up to the front, and this is devastating now. We're getting to the point where we don't have Storm to push this back. And unfortunately our Immortals aren't attacking at all the Lurkers. Great Storm there, that was beautiful, but just imagine a couple more, like 3-4 more Storms. It hurts. Actually, it doesn't hurt me much because I'm a Zerg player. I like to see this kind of stuff, but it hurts the Protoss for sure. So yeah, so I want to go back just to that engagement and talk about it a bit more. First of all, I think that your army could have been a lot bigger. I think you could have been closer to maxed at this point. More Zealots, more Archons, more Immortals. So that your whole big steamroll move does a lot more. Like, this is not enough Zealots. Not even close to enough Zealots. And I think it's a factor partially of taking the 3rd a little late, not having that 3 base economy as early as possible, and even not saturating the 4th by getting close to 11 minutes, I think is a bit of a problem. So as far as the economy goes, I think could be saturating a bit more just to have a bigger army, and then production cycles just warping in a bit more, gateways a bit earlier, stuff like that, just to have a bigger army. I mean, obviously that helps a lot. But then as far as the positioning, we definitely want to take a longer, well, not always, but I think in this scenario you want to take a longer engagement against this. You don't want to have it all be in one big fight. Definitely not if your whole caster army is all clumped up. So I think like over here, where maybe like, you know, the spread is a little better of like Immortals and Templar and stuff, right? Big wide spread of those units, and then Zealots crash in and you storm the hell out of everything. So you still take that big fight, but you take it in a wider concave so that these Lurkers' straight shot isn't doing quite as much. And then ideally you're able to save a little bit more of the Arc, or a little bit more of the Templar. And we'll watch this one more time and just see quite how clumped up we are. A little too clumped up. So yeah, I think I would have taken this area a little earlier. I would have had the Mothership Core with a couple more pylons here too, and I would have fought a little harder for control of this area that he's just taking for free. And already, like, these shots coming in here, as you can see, are starting to get to this area of where our casters are, and we really want to protect those. So yeah, moving up to here, you can see this one's going to connect with here, and like even this one over here. These spikes are going to connect with our casters, which are already below the shields and into the HP, before really the big fight even starts. Right here. So clumped up these units are. Taking crazy damage from the Lurkers. And the Lurkers are now dead, but yeah, that's about the point where also we lose our, unfortunately, our Templar. And looking at the gas, could have actually banked up a little bit more energy and had a few more Templar, I think. Cool. I think I covered most if not all of the big things that I noticed in this game. And as far as tech choice, maybe one argument could be made for getting a Stargate a bit earlier and trying to eventually get to Tempests. I know Tempests are very weird tech, but against this type of composition, it's really nice because they can just shoot uncontested for so long. So that's what I've been finding a lot of players do against me when I go heavy lurkers, is they'll have this type of composition, you know, the Immortal Zealot Archon, and then they'll try to get a couple Tempests out just to always have them attacking, and they're so nice defensively because they have such nice range. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck, Burton, in your PvZs. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'll see you guys next time.